G'day and welcome to Does It Matter? There's been a lot of discussion of late in the academic circles and social circles about the rate of mental health and depression and internalized suffering. Our externalized suffering we've reduced dramatically, which I do feel is part of the problem. And yet our internal suffering, if anything, is increasing. Human beings are less resilient than they used to be. We're kinder, which is good. We're less violent, which is good. But we are still suffering. And a lot of that suffering is self-inflicted. I would argue most of it is self-inflicted. We are harming ourselves. Why would we be doing that? And in unprecedented levels? Why would we be drinking too much, screening too much, drugs too much, indulging hedonistic, self-destructive behaviors? Why would we be engaging in more of that when we ostensibly should be happier? That's a bigger question than what I'm going to tackle today. But I'm going to dig to the core of this big question and look at our evolutionary origins, which seem to often contain most of the fundamentals as to why we are what we are. We evolved through millions of years as hominids in environments which triggered us. We are actually designed to be triggered. So in that, the woke-tard progressives are correct. We are easily triggered. We're made to be triggered by our environment. And we evolved in an environment that forced us to respond appropriately to it. And if we didn't respond appropriately, those individuals died and they didn't breed. They were less successful in fitness, and so they never got to make more children with the same poor traits. So our traits over generation after generation evolved along the adaptive process, constantly being triggered by adversity, hardship, problem solving, endless problem solving. In a world today where you can, even when you're playing a hard video game, you can tone it down. You can use a cheat. You can just play the easiest level. You can skip to the next one. You don't have to persist. And everything like that is almost the same. You can take the easy way out. It's not as rewarding, it's not as enriching, not by any stretch of the imagination, but you can. You can avoid adversarial persistence most of the time. And when you can't, what do you think will happen? Mental illness, depression, unhappiness. Because our internal strength is the same as our external strength. If you're not using it, then resting it, then using it again. If it's not being used and allowed to have some rest, eternal grind is not good for us either, then you're not going to develop the muscles that you need internally. And we evolved to be triggered by our environment in certain ways that we are no longer doing. So I believe we are finding demons. We are finding challenges. We are finding that which we think will heal us or help us as an alternative or a response to the general lack of physical triggers in our lives. It's interesting to note in poorer societies that are more strife-torn, that the levels of mental illness and unhappiness plummet by comparison. It's strange, but there are metrics, solid metrics, that show that often those people in those societies are happier than we are in the richest, most affluent, peaceful societies in history. The most egalitarian, the whole lot. Why? Because if you get rid of all the nasties in the universe and put yourself in a garden world, you'll eventually start gnawing off your own limbs. We are like the wolf in a trap. Eventually, it'll bite its own leg off to get free, because it is slavery to be completely catered for. It is slavery for things to be too easy. It is slavery. It is chains and bondage. to not struggle, to not have problems to solve, to not be taxed sometimes by your life. And it's generated us a culture which believes that that is a good thing, even while it destroys us, even while it hurts us. We need peace, yes. We need stability, yes. I don't want people being eaten by saber-tooths or killed by diseases any more than anyone else. But if we're going to have civilization reach the heights that it's going to reach, post-scarcity is on the way, we desperately need to generate a culture that is free-thinking, rigorous, and seeks out constructive ways of suffering. Because believe it or not, you need to suffer. You need to have struggle. You need to have problems that challenge you. You'll never be happy. You will never have the greatest joy without the struggle that comes first. Everything that we do, if we really want to enjoy it, requires 3 components: skill and know-how, commitment, persistence, and tremendous effort. Those 3 components have to be in. If you want to have a successful financial life, you want to have great sex, you want to be able to defend yourself, you want to be able to be creative, you want to be useful in particular ways, and you want to be competent, you're going to need those components in all those areas that make up life and make life a happy place to be and a meaningful place to be. Struggle is a part of it. Stop trying to escape the struggle. Face it. Go into it. Don't pull back from the seated noose. Go into it. Break it. We were made to break the noose. We were made to push against that which would oppress us. Okay? We weren't designed to cry out like babies for rescue. That's not us. And it will make you miserable, and it will destroy you if you do. Be strong. Find the ways to be strong. Train, eat well, sleep, meditate, yoga, all the many, many practices on the planet that can make you resilient. Seek them out. Find your combination. Find your mix and sink yourself into it forever. You were made to be happy in struggle. You were made to be happy in challenge. Seek it out. Us.